Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving,
I don't wanna take advice from fools.
You always won every time you placed a bet.
Money, that's what I want.
America's only Grandmaster Sports Handicapper, Joe Duffy here. Here is the 2013 Part 1 of one of our off-season watch lists as far as some things we want pro bettors to look at, and we certainly will be looking at. How about quarterbacks facing the burden of high expectations? Well, at offshoreinsiders.com, we know that Cam Newton last year proved to be the rule rather than the exception. Following up a great rookie year, or even more accurately from a handicapping standpoint, any young quarterback who is coming off of his first year as a starter in which he excelled doesn't necessarily have to be a rookie. It is so difficult to then face the burden of high expectations the next year, where defenses have a lot more game film to study. And almost always, in such cases, a team led by that quarterback is a go-against the following year. Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Colin Kaepernick, and Russell Wilson are four quarterbacks that, quite frankly, we're going to lean towards going against on quite a few occasions this year. Now, we obviously, in the case of RG3, throughout the preseason, we're going to be seeing how he recovers from the injury, but it looks like he is close to being 100%. He will very likely be a go-against quarterback. One of the other things on our watch list, among many things at offshoreinsiders.com, we look for the Philadelphia Eagles to struggle early, but they could improve as time goes on. Now, notice I did say could improve. This is a classic example of how I'm going to let the facts guide me. And one of the things that I always say, of course, preseason research is of enormous importance, but I say that preseason research, about 1 hour of in-season research, quite frankly, is equivalent to 3 hours of preseason research. So be flexible enough to be able to make adjustments as the facts guide us. But whether or not Philadelphia coach Chip Kelly is going to make that successful transition is highly debatable. But under the best possible scenario, there will definitely be some growing pains. Now, this is exacerbated by the fact he's a pass-happy coach. His quarterback situation, to say the least, highly questionable. The secondary is revamped, and his front seven stars are better suited for a 4-3 rather than the 3-4 that Chip Kelly prefers to utilize. But here is what is very likely to happen. Matt Barkley going to take over the starting quarterback before the year is out. Expect the Eagles to struggle out of the gate, lose some value, and then once Barkley takes over, they are going to improve just as their value drops. So I think Philadelphia will start out struggling spread-wise, but get better and better as the year goes on and actually be a great team to bet on towards the end of the year. Now, how about the Buffalo Bills? Many teams are breaking in new coaches. This is a yearly event. You're always going to see a half dozen or so coaches fired at the end of the year. So Buffalo is far from the only team that's breaking in a new staff, but I will say that their schemes and their personnel, as much as of an overhaul as any team in recent memory, look for them to take the preseason very seriously, build up some false expectations, and then once the regular season starts, they're going to fall flat on their face. Now, Green Bay, we say time and time again in the NBA and college and NFL, college basketball, I should say basketball and football, college and pro, it's when you handicap totals, it is a lot more about pace than handicapping offensive and defensive efficiency, matchups, etc. Green Bay, look for them to run the ball a lot more in the preseason than they will in the regular season. They're certainly set at quarterback. They got this guy by the name of Aaron Rodgers, pretty decent quarterback, but they've got a deep group of running backs, much more about quantity than quality. Nobody really jumps ahead of the rest, so you have a lot more guys on the roster battling for a few spots. Look for Green Bay to really test out the running game in the preseason. Now, some false hopes in Arizona. Carson Palmer, the best quarterback the Cardinals have had since Kurt Warner. I don't think anybody on earth can argue with that, but We compare that to being the tallest midget in the circus. Bottom line is Carson Palmer always has been and always will be overrated. Kind of a Jeff George. Jeff George has always been our poster child for that. Carson Palmer, though, same way. Little talent at running back. So Arizona's offensive line is going to get scapegoated for the fact they're not very good at the skilled positions. Overrated quarterback. However, one thing they do have, without any question, Larry Fitzgerald. He's not overrated. In fact, he's probably underrated because he hasn't gotten too many passes thrown his way in recent years. But he is without question one of the bright spots. And yes, Carson Palmer, an upgrade from the Pigs they've had over the past couple years. So Fitzgerald will score some touchdowns, but it's going to be feast or famine. They're not going to be nickeling and diming down the field. So look for Arizona's probably to score more points than their offensive efficiency would dictate, but this also means their defense is going to be constantly on the field, so they're going to give up a ton of points. Titans, could they be worse or first? Chris Johnson, this time last year I was saying, and certainly in the middle of the year was saying he was the poster child for how running backs are taking so much more of a beating, and because of the mere physics that guys are faster and stronger, that running backs' shelf lives are short. He, quite frankly, proved there aren't a lot of teams or players that prove me wrong, but he did start to prove me wrong at the end of the year, actually with a strong finish. Looked like the old Chris Johnson. So again, I'm going to let the facts guide me. Keep a close eye on him. Jake Locker, one of these guys who I thought would be, and Aaron Rodgers, those of you who are longtime clients, I was on his wood, so to speak, since his college days. I knew when he took over for Brett Favre he was going to become one of the top NFL quarterbacks, but I will be honest with you. I also had Jake Locker, thought he was going to be the next Aaron Rodgers, a guy who was going to be the steal of the draft. So far, I haven't exactly been right. I'm not completely ruling him out, but maybe could this be Locker's breakout year? Between Locker and Johnson, huge possible upside, but also I wouldn't be shocked if there's a downside. I still have my doubts about Chris Johnson. I think he's taken such a beating over the years. I don't know if he's going to be one of the premier running backs ever again. And like I said, Jake Locker, got to let the facts guide me. I see that enormous talent. I haven't seen it evolve into him being one of the top quarterbacks. So big upside, big downside. I have the Titans as one of my predictably unpredictable teams. They're going to look tremendous. 1 week, they're going to be on the both ends of upsets. A couple times they're going to be a favorite and they're going to lose outright. Other times they're going to be an underdog and win outright. Think the underdog will do very well in their games. And listen to some of our other podcasts. Read our articles for more on our predictably unpredictable winning theory. Betting against Pittsburgh is going to be like stealing. I know they're alleged to be one of the most well-run organizations in sports. We'll see. We'll see. I got my doubts. Ben Roethlisberger was one of the best quarterbacks in the game. He's tailing off. Troy Polamalu, Ike Taylor, Ryan Clark, they're old on both sides of the ball. Look for the Steelers to be a good go against this year. Make sure you visit us at offshoreinsiders.com throughout the preseason, throughout the regular season. Free news and notes. You get some free picks, all kinds of information, and the best premium picks in the world at www.offshoreinsiders.com.